Have you ever been shopping online for men? Swiping left, swiping right, and you come across somebody that you're actually interested in seeing where it would go, but you're not quite sure what to message him because you know you've got one shot to make a good first impression. Today I'm going to give you my 3 best tips for something to message him that's going to pique his interest and increase your chances of him messaging you back. And we're starting right now. And as always, remember, for the best dating and relationship advice, subscribe to my channel by hitting the bell so that you get notified when new videos drop every week. Having a degree in psychology and being a trained and certified relationship coach and a rapid transformational therapist, I've had a lot of years of studying human behavior and what motivates people. And what motivates people to do something that we would like them to do, such as motivating a guy to message us back online and creating a fabulous first impression. So kicking off our 3 tips, let's go with tip number 1, which is the most important tip by far. That's why I'm starting with it. Number 1, that is give him a status compliment. And we've all heard, give him a compliment, tell him he's got the prettiest eyes in the whole world, or give him words of affirmation so that he feels like you truly saw him for who he was. But we're going to take this a step further, and we're going to give him a status compliment. Whether we realize it or not, we are all selling things. Different things are important to different people, and we sell what we feel is important to us, who we want to be, who we represent. You may be somebody that's so earthy, you wear Patagonia, everything, you're all about recycling, or maybe you've got bills to spills and you drive a Lexus and that is your status, or maybe you are so giving, you give to the homeless every Christmas. That is your status. We all have something that we find so incredibly important to us, and it drives us to do the things we do, to get the feedback from people that we so desperately need. And this feedback that we so desperately need actually is much deeper than what we will get into in this video. It would take a lot longer for me to uncover those deep-rooted issues. But for this sake, for messaging somebody online, for you to just understand, giving a status compliment and looking for what that is will increase your chances of him feeling that deep inner connection with you. So what is a status compliment? It's looking for the thing that he is selling, that he prides himself on, and uncovering why is he selling that. Maybe he's super earthy and he's the Patagonia guy. So your status compliment is going to be something like, I love how down to earth you are. You seem to have such an incredible sense of adventure. You may be looking at a guy you're interested in that has the muscle shots. We've all seen the muscle pictures, right? So instead of saying nice bod, you say, wow, I love the way that you really prioritize your health. When we're looking to give status compliments, first we look for what they're selling. And then we get curious about what they're looking for, what they need to hear because of what they're selling. And that is where you go for the compliment. You go 3 layers, 2 layers, 1 layer at least deeper from what the surface sales pitch is, and give them what they so desperately need to hear, which again will be for another video. But for now, what you're doing is you are giving him the feedback that he is looking for in the way that he is looking for it. And when you do this, you draw that deeper connection. He will have his interest piqued because you saw him for what he wants to be seen for, and you gave him the feedback that he is looking for. Now, some women struggle with the idea of going the compliment route because they feel like it takes the mystery out of whether they like them or don't they like them. Do I like you? Don't I? Come chase me to find out. Nothing could be further from the truth. Giving somebody a compliment, one compliment, shows that you have confidence in letting somebody else feel good about themselves. Now, I'm not talking about becoming a raging fan, because when you become a fan, oh my gosh, you are the best. I love you. Will you sign my t-shirt? Then they treat you like a fan. But one really well thought out compliment, and a compliment that he has been needing and wanting from you, is exactly what you need to be doing to get what you want, which is for him to message you back. And if he doesn't message you back and you gave that compliment, you can check one off for a Mother Teresa act, because giving a compliment that somebody desperately needs to hear, no matter what you get in return, always makes us feel better, always builds confidence, because we're giving love to others, whether we end up receiving it or not. So it is a win-win. Give the status compliment almost every time, and it will ensure your increased probability that he will message you back. So if you're still struggling coming up with a status compliment, it's not your fault. We probably haven't worked together. So if you want to become a male mindset genius, go to www.kellyhatch.com, book a call with me, and let's see if we're a right fit to start working together. But for now, let's move on to tip 2. Tip 2 is to find a commonality that you both have in common. And yes, we've heard this before, and we don't want to do what everybody else is doing. We want to stand out, right? We want him to notice us. So we don't just find the commonality, but we're going to inject life into the message. So let's say, again, let's get the Patagonia guy again. And he's an outdoorsy person. He's got all of these hiking photos of him in Yosemite. And you are also somebody that loves to hike or to climb. And so something that you could say to him to find that common ground, which is what we'll do first, is, oh, I love climbing Half Dome. What this does is it lets him know, yes, you know what you're talking about. No, you're not a fake. Yes, you know what Half Dome is, because you have been in Yosemite and you have climbed it. Now, part 2 of this step is you're going to inject more life into the message. Men love women that come and bring life to their life. They want somebody that loves to hike, but they don't only love to hike or climb or rock climb, whatever it is, but they want to bring extra to it. So what you say then is you say, have you ever tried Ralph's Deli sandwiches on the way out of town? They are amazing. P.S. There is no Ralph's Deli. I made that up right here, right now. So don't go driving to find it. But my point is that what you're doing is you're finding that commonality. But what you're doing that most women are not doing is you take it a step further and you inject life into what he already loves. It's like, whoa, this chick loves to rock climb, and she's also adding to my life. She's giving me new ideas of things that we could do together. And it starts to get him thinking about asking you out, for you both to go climbing, and then hitting Ralph's on the way out of town. What this does is it gets him more interested in you than the average girl, because you're taking it a step further. You're showing up in a more authentic way because you're giving more details. Anybody can say, oh yeah, I love to hike, bike, and fish, right? The standard lines. But if you're giving details about things that he is truly interested in and you are truly interested in, and then you're adding more fun, more adventure, more things to do on top of the things you're already both interested in, he is going to be messaging you back because you are bringing more to the table than the average girl. All right, we are moving on to tip 3. And what's fabulous about tip 3 is that we can actually interweave this into tip 1 and tip 2. After you give your status compliment, ask an interesting question. Again, it will increase his chances of messaging you back because he has something to answer. Tip 2, you find the commonality. We're injecting life into things that he's already interested in, creating that story of your life together and how you'll be rock climbing and going to Ralph's. Ask an interesting question afterwards that will again increase those chances of him messaging you back. But if you are looking at his online profile and he gives you nothing, there's not a lot of pictures, you don't really feel like you have much to work with, you can always go with the interesting question tip number 3. Let's say all you have is where he lives, the state that he lives in. Let's say he lives in Maine. An interesting question that you could give him is, I see you live in Maine. Are the lobsters really as good as everybody says that they are? Question mark. At least it's more than just a hey, right? We don't want to ever just message somebody a hey or a poke or a tickle, because all that does is say, I am bored and I am boring and I have very little to offer you. So if you are stumped with what to do, always revert back to tip number 3, which is ask an interesting question. Now that you have been given my 3 tips to online messaging, there's a really good chance that you are going to have an increase of guys messaging you, which is going to increase the probability that you are going to have more dates or more face-to-face interaction online. Now, before you have that face-to-face interaction, I recommend that you watch my video on what to do if you are nervous that your flirting skills aren't up to the task. The information that I share in that video is very powerful. An old client of mine attributes one tip in that video to her now being married to the guy of her dreams, and they just had their first daughter together. So if you liked this video, leave in the comments below a status compliment that somebody has given you. Even though you didn't know that it was a status compliment, now that we know the process and what it is and how it makes us feel, that it's more important to us than those superficial hoity-toity compliments that we throw around every day, that it had more meaning to you, a deeper level. Tell me how it made you feel and what exactly it was that they complimented you on. And as always, remember, you were meant to love and to be loved. You don't have to find your guy alone. We can do it together. So hit the bell, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.